Fast, free delivery from the Home Depot makes your projects hassle-free. Forget something you need? Visit HomeDepot.com or the Home Depot app for free delivery on millions of products, including same-day and next-day options. Get delivery at the speed you need, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability.
We have been told that we are the big boys in town.
Well, he's yapping. He's into it. I'm talking about he is like lit.
He's about to start preaching.
Let everybody say amen.
I can get chills a little bit thinking about what these two guys can be.
Trio is back here on the Falcons Audible, presented by AT&T. That's DJ Shockley, Dave Archer. I'm Derek Rackney. Thank you so much for however you guys get your podcast content, whether that's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, AtlantaFalcons.com, and all the other outlets.
Rackley TV.
Yeah.
Rackley TV.
I wish there was one called that.
Right. Shout out to you for the Outcast. Rock and roll Hall of Fame.
Well,
right
listen,
shout out, bringing that up. That's
part of the
pretty
reason why I'm wearing this is
I like
we're dealing with somewhat of a polar vortex here in the Southeast. It is unseasonably
the
cold
least.
here. And
Great word, though. Vortex.
I thought about that
Certainly
before.
felt like
before
I was in a
came
vortex trying to get in the building this morning.
I mean, when you get a text from your daughter, she's 17 and she drives, right? And her car stays in the driveway at night. Well, she texts me this morning and she sends me a picture of the thermostat, like on the bottom. She goes, "How do I make this thing warmer?" Doesn't know how to work the heat, but it's just entirely too cold altogether. We don't deal with the cold too well in the Southeast, says the guy that was born and raised in Minnesota.
Right.
However, I've been down here 25 and a half years now, so I am a Southerner now. My blood has thinned out. Atlanta Falcons go.
Same way. Yeah, Arch same way.
Yeah, southeastern Idaho at 5,500 feet. I don't know thing about that now. 6 months a year out of snow on the ground. We have no idea what
We are
about.
so far removed from that now.
No question.
Yes, we are soft Southerners, if you will. So Falcons travel across the pond to Germany. They play 4+ quarters of competitive football, but unfortunately they come away with a 31-25 overtime loss to the Colts. And fellas, let's go ahead and unpack this one a little bit. Arch, before we came on the air, you said that there is a number of different angles that we could go on this one. Before we dive into the X's and O's of the game, Arch, since you were there, okay, why don't you give us and our viewers and listeners a little bit of flavor of how the trip was, what you saw, how you felt? Did you have any history and nostalgia and all that stuff?
Put a little season on that flavor too.
Yeah, well, first of all, the fan scenario over there is off the charts, guys.
That's
I mean, and it's funny because it becomes an event, okay? So, yes, we play Sunday and it's Colts-Falcons. But you would think there is a jamboree. Remember how when your kids or you've had kids, you probably had your son, they play in a jamboree, and so there's like 8 teams there, and all the fans of those. That's essentially what this was. 32 teams fans. I saw a dude walking down the street. He had New York Giant. He had a starter jacket on. Underneath that, he had a shirt on that had NYG on. He had a pair of sweats on that said Giants down the leg. He had a fanny pack that said NYG on it. Giants, they're not even in the town. No, I'm telling you, all 32 teams were represented, and the place was packed. The fans were phenomenal. You got Country Roads, you got Sweet Caroline, which they love to sing to and all the time. You even got a little Bon Jovi,
I saw a pretty impressive wave go on.
The
in
wave
the
with the flags and stuff.
Yep.
So
Wave was strong. Wave was strong.
From a fan perspective, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And they really embraced it, wrapped their arms around it, and give all the people of Berlin. And hopefully we got a number of our fans that we got a chance to meet at our team party on Saturday night. Had a number of fans come over. Some 400 fans came to the Falcon House.
Yeah.
HAUS there in Berlin. Got a chance to spend a lot of time with people that see our podcast, that see some of the things we do on AtlantaFalcons.com. We appreciate you guys. And you guys be safe over there and everything. But it was really cool to be with you. So the fan perspective was really cool. Obviously, there's a historical perspective. We know about the wall and Mr. Gorbachev tear down this wall. Ronald Reagan said 36 years ago, and they got that done. And you can still see remnants of the wall and some of what was going on there when you had a communist occupied side and the free side on the other side. I say free, the non-communist side, I guess I should put it. But so you got all that, and then there was some really old buildings, and obviously we know what happened. I think you should know what happened in 1936. When the Nazi Party had begun to take over Germany, and that was who was in power at the time. And we had an Olympic Games over there, and we had one of the great Olympic performances in history, maybe the greatest performance in history. Jesse Owens wins 4 gold medals over there, wins the 100, the 200, the long jump, and the 4x1. And I stood right on the field, and I pulled up a picture of the podium where Owens is standing somewhere in that area on the podium saluting and getting his gold medal for winning the 100 meters. Just phenomenal to be. It was so eerie to be in that place, especially with the evil that we knew was brewing. In the performance that Jesse put on that day, along with some of his teammates from the American team and some of the other people around the country.
Did you run the 100 at all? Did you take yourself
I
through
felt like hamstring
Jesse?
was probably going to go if I tried to do that. So
Probably.
I stayed away from it. But overall, long trip on the flight, and I guess that's part of what you endure to be able to see some stuff like that. 8 hours going, 8.5 hours going over, 9.5 hours coming back. We got home Monday morning about 3:30 in the morning, and so that's not like going out and playing San Francisco on a Sunday night like we did here a few weeks ago and getting back. But it was long, and so it took kind of a day to kind of readjust and get your clock back going. But it was worth the trip, other than the fact that we didn't go over there and get done what we were supposed to go do. And that was get back on the winning track. And so let's dive into it.
I got to say that, I said that last week that you'd be in here with bags under your eyes and stuff. You seem pretty good, Arch. You seem rested, ready to roll.
Fresh.
You think so?
Yeah, you look fresh.
I appreciate you.
No doubt.
Appreciate
Arch,
it.
I like it.
I know.
Got an extra cup of coffee here. He's looking good, feeling good.
Jill, glad you was back home. I know she was happy to see you again.
Yeah. She accepted me back in the house. I was able to come back in, so I was okay there. Thanks.
All right, so last week, if you watched the show, we went over what we called last week as Schlüssel zum Spiel.
Yeah.
Which was
You're a native now.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm sure all the Germans think that. Which was our keys to the game. So let's revisit that and see how Atlanta ended up faring. Shock, dominate the line of scrimmage. What was your assessment on whether or not they dominated the line of scrimmage?
So this is are you a cup half full?
Yeah.
Or,
I think I got on you about this one, too.
You did. And, I think it's a mixed bag for what you say. Obviously, one of the keys, and it could have been either way. And I talked about it being a line of scrimmage game. And, of course, you look up and, they rush for over 300 yards, and Jonathan Taylor has a monster day of 200-plus on the ground. And we have a 3rd and 21, and we let Daniel Jones get out the gate for, 19, 20-yard gain. Mm-hmm. So you look at it and say, it don't look like we dominate line of scrimmage at all on that point. But then, you also turn around the other side and you get 7 sacks. You turn them over. You do a lot of good things getting after Daniel Jones, but those things obviously stick out. So, I think it's kind of a 50-50 thing on that part of my keys, and obviously it was not the best of it because ultimately it ended up probably winning the game for them.
Yeah, and it's one of those Shock where when the opposing team runs the football like you did, you kind of have to stop there and everything else gets thrown out the door, right? And it's not the National Football League. It's every single level. You get ran on like that. And Arch, the fact – I don't want to go away from revisiting our keys here, but like the fact that Atlanta still made it competitive with the way that they ran the football is almost impressive. Like you don't come away with stuff like that as in a loss, but like – they were in the game, and they dominated in the run game. Usually that ends up being a lopsided affair.
Yeah, I think that the domination certainly is indicated by the number. And I think that if you take the 83-yard touchdown away, which you can't, but if you took the 83-yard touchdown away, they still ran for 240 yards in the game. Yep. That's taking the 80-yarder away, right? Yeah. So that would indicate, they got after us in the run game. But I didn't feel like that was what was going on in the game. This was a game of explosive plays. And when you go back and look at it, okay, yes, 300 yards rushing, 83 of it on one play. He had another 40-yard run in the game. Daniel Jones ran twice for 20-plus yards. And so when you begin to look at it, and that was my key to the game. I got my keys written down here. I said limit explosive plays. They had come into the game with 29 – over the last 3 games, they had 29 plays of 15 yards or more. They had 12 in this game. Mm-hmm. So when you begin to look at all the yardage you gave up on the ground in particular, the explosives are what beat you. It wasn't that they beat your head into the ground with the run game. Yeah. It was that they had explosive plays. And so, You know, that's my evaluation on that. I don't think that it necessarily would indicate, okay, you're horrible against the run. No, you can't allow them to have the explosives. Because they ran the ball 41 times. You probably could take 30 of the runs. You handled it, but you let them get out.
And the 10 are the ones that really hurt.
And those are the ones that got you.
Yeah. You mentioned some of the explosives. Tyler Warren had a 24-yard catch. Alec Pierce had a 37-yarder early. Jonathan Taylor had a 24-yarder out of the backfield, as well as what he had in the run game. So those were some of the explosive plays given up by the Falcons defense. Arch, yours was your Schlüssel zum Spiel was the QB that has the most rushing yards wins the game. And if these numbers are correct.
Should I give you a lot of crap about this one?
Wait a minute. This is the only one that actually works, because we're going to get the Rax, and Rax Head was wanted this. All this stuff happened on defense, which he got, and it still didn't work. This is the only one that actually applies to winning.
Yeah,
he had 7 carries, 53 yards, and he had a couple back-breaking runs, and there was a huge one on 3rd and 21 late in the football game, which led to the game-tying field goal. He runs for 19 yards. And it makes it 4th. Now, you still have to convert on 4th down, which they really tightly contested contested throw. He makes to Warren. Billy Bowman's right in his hip pocket, but he completes it. But they got back to where they could throw some little control route instead of trying to throw verticals, because you let him get out and run 19 yards. And instead of being 4th and 15, where they couldn't throw that little out route, now it's 4th and 2. So, 7 carries, 53 yards, and he had some of those that kind of put things back in perspective for the play caller. So big day for Daniel Jones in that regard.
And in comparison, Michael Penix had 1 rush for -1 yard. So there's been a lot of talk about that, guys, from either local media, I think national media, on whether or not Michael needs to get out more, because he's got that ability. I think Michael wants to be a throwing, pocket passing quarterback, and we have seen a couple of times when he has slipped out and he's made some things happen, and you don't necessarily want to say, let's turn him into a running quarterback. No. It's just use it when the situation calls for it.
For sure.
Yeah, his choices. It's choices, Shock.
When they do it, for sure.
It's not about having the opportunity. He has the opportunity to do it. And I'll give you guys a for instance. We have a play where he gets out of the pocket. It's a designed boot. He gets out of the pocket. He's got Drake on the sideline that's somewhat open for about a 3 or 4 yard gain. He's got Mooney running an over route, a shallow drag over route, probably at about 8 to 10 yards. And then he's got Pitts on a corner towards the sideline. The Colts cover it pretty good. He gets out of the pocket. There's nobody for him. He gets out of the pocket. He can go get 5 or 6 yards and hook slide down, and now it's 2nd and 3. But he decides to kind of throw against his arm, tries to hit Mooney, who's got a guy draped all over him. Could have maybe called interference on the play, but he throws a knee-high throw to Mooney like a bullet, and Mooney doesn't catch it. Now it's 2nd and 10.
Yep.
Those are decisions that he has got to get over. He's got to go make the decision. I don't have anything here except this. And this is acceptable. I'm going to go get 7 or 8 and get on the ground. He could have easily done that. And there's probably 4 or 5 of those every game that's part of his growth. And again, young quarterback, 12 starts in his career, 11 starts in his career. He's got to get to some of that stuff.
It'll be interesting to know. I would love to be able to pick his brain to see what his mindset is on those particular type of plays. I remember when I played in college, when I was here with the Falcons, the number one rule was when you come out on boot, you have to make sure that they feel like you obviously can take off. You got to attack the line of scrimmage so that they will come up. But the number one rule is attack the line of scrimmage first, and then here comes something else open. But I would love to know, because like you mentioned, it's something that we've seen in 3 or 4 games where you got opportunities to pick up 4 or 5 yards, and may not seem like much, but like you mentioned, go from 2nd and 10 to, 1st and 10 to now you got 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. Now things are a little bit easier. It gets to, okay, now we're a little bit better on 3rd down, because our 3rd down's not 7+ like we've been in for a long time, and that's a whole other issue as well. But I think that kind of stuff can also help your offense as well when you start getting to those later down situations.
I mean, Raheem Morris.
The play caller wants to barbecue. They want to barbecue the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Well, you know what? My job's a hell of a lot easier if you go get me 6 or 7 on that play.
No doubt.
as opposed to let's line up on 2nd and 10.
Yep. And Raheem Morris has mentioned it on multiple occasions that we're playing in 3rd and long too many times. Like,
hard to win.
It doesn't matter what level you're playing at. Again, if you constantly have to convert 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13, it's going to be a challenge, especially in the National Football League, how defenses and players are just so good. My key was the defense causing chaos. And, Arch, you kind of talked about this already, and they caused chaos. 7 sacks, 41% pressure rate, 2 turnovers, 9 tackles for loss, couple pass breakups in this game. They did a lot of really good things, and you want to put a check mark by it. But when you lose the game and they run the way that they did on the defense, it's hard to find it's hard to say, yeah, that's great. Well, I mean, it is. It's positive. You can build off of it. You want to continue to get pressure on the quarterback. You want to create turnovers. But when it's in a losing effort, it's just kind of hard to be excited about it, right?
Yeah,
So
I think it was a great idea as far as what you wanted to do, and you did it. You said that.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you this, Rack.
Yep.
You've got the 2 young players on the edge are starting to come of age really quickly. I mean, Pierce and Walker are coming, right? Dorless inside, essentially a rookie is coming. Ororo making some stuff. He played. Yeah. I mean, they're coming, right? And so, do you believe? I do, but I want to hear. Do you believe that what you're doing wrong defensively? And again, there's a lot going on, right? I think you're still 8th or 9th or 10th overall defense, are fixable to where the next week you can be marketably better in some of the areas you made mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times, especially when you talk about the explosive plays, usually what happens is it's one thing. It's like somebody forgot their contained, they got washed inside, or it was one missed tackle, or it was a missed assignment. One person missed assignment. That's why we always talk about, like, the difficulty in the game of football is 11 players have to operate efficiently at the same time in order to have success. And sometimes one mistake on a play, whether it's offensively or defensively, can turn into those game-breaking plays. And so, yeah, the other thing I hear from Raheem Morris, and he's talking a lot about offense, but you could say this about defense too, is it's execution. It's just getting the job done. Like, a lot of times people are there to make the play, and you just don't make the play. Like the touchdown that Jonathan Taylor had. Like, Jesse Bates was there. Yeah, you got to give Jonathan Taylor credit. He made a great move. He was there. Jesse Bates was there. Just didn't make the play, right? And so, I mean, that final drive, they were driving down.
Oh, yeah. I think we were out of gas. We might have been out of gas at that point.
But I'm just trying to give an example. But to your point, yes, it's things that can be fixable, but a lot of times it's just one little breakdown, and all of a sudden somebody's out the gate, and you're looking at an explosive play.
To your point, let's go back. The Pierce touchdown, they go 2 plays, 95 yards. They had a dump out. They're playing quarters, okay? And so quarters means you got, for the layman fan out there, quarters is you got 4 guys playing what essentially is an umbrella look, but they're playing quarters of the field. So how you attack that is a lot of times in post or double post to try to pull one guy out and get it isolated. Well, there's a learning process that goes into the young safety. Watts is on the same side of the field with the corner, and so they run a post and a dig, okay, so which is an in route. So Warren, they stacked and they run a post on the corner. The corner's playing outside technique, and Warren, the tight end, runs an in route at about 12 yards. And so the safety hesitates, even though there's nothing threatening Jesse. And in fact, if you look at the tape, Jesse goes like this. I got him to free up Watts, but he hasn't seen it enough. And this is what we're talking about, young guys developing. Watts bites on it just for a count, and that's all you need as a quarterback. I've got a post on an outside technique corner. I'm taking the shot because I can throw it over the top of the safety. And sure enough, Watts tries to get out of there, but he can't get there in time. Perfect throw. I point the football with a big receiver. It's a touchdown. That can be fixed because now all of a sudden I've seen it, right, Shock? A young guy, and so he and Jesse are talking, saying, listen, you see this, you got to look at the other side of the field. You can't just be so locked on your side. If there's nobody threatening me on my side of the field, I'm going to take that guy because he's coming in my zone now. He's leaving your quarter to come in my quarter, and I got him. So you keep getting the hell out of there so you can protect the corner on that post. That's what I'm talking about. What you're talking about run fitting and being in the right place, the run fits. That's what I think you can exponentially be better, especially when young players see that kind of stuff. oh, okay, that's what they can do to me.
Yep.
You know, I think that's something they'll improve on immediately.
Yeah, and I think that's you could say what you want about Daniel Jones, that he's not, an upper echelon NFL QB, but that's the difference is in the college game to the NFL game is sometimes, Shock, the reads get simplified to the point to where it's like, all right, here's the concept.
Quick trigger.
You're reading this safety. Like you see a hesitation, boom, cut it loose, right? And then all of a sudden, if you see him drop back, then you go to number 2, then you go to the tight end, then you come to the check down, whatever. But that's what I think the average fan doesn't understand is that these guys are making these decisions literally in a snap of a finger, but it's just that hesitation that Arch talked about. As soon as you see it, boom, you know you got it.
And you're talking about a hesitation. Here is an example as well on the other side of where the hesitation throws you off, or where the Falcons did a really good job of disguising it. The sack fumble by James Pierce. They got 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. Jesse Bates is the outside guy on the line of scrimmage. It looks like he's going to rush. So Daniel Jones is like, okay, I see him rushing. They have more guys than we can block. They got 5 guys in the protection. You got Jonathan Taylor who's going to go right out here on the right side, run a little screen. Jesse Bates peels on the screen. Daniel Jones wants to throw the screen, but now it's covered. He has to hesitate. That little hesitation, James Pierce is the free guy off the backside. Yep. Guess what? There goes the sack fumble. Yep. So that's how you talk about how quickly they hesitate, how quickly you see things. Daniel Jones, his mind said, okay, I know I'm hot. I got to get rid of this football. But as he gets ready to go to football,
Bates is
the guy who looks like he's about to blitz, because you look at Jesse Bates on the play, he's revved up like he's coming. Snap of the ball, he peels. Daniel Jones looks to his right. Oh, I can't throw that. By the time he hesitates to come back, boom, sack, fumble, the other way around. So that's how quickly you talk about a small hesitation or think you knowing what a defense is going to do can turn into a play that works well for the Falcons.
So let's kind of talk a little bit more. I've got the 2 quarterbacks here, and let's talk a little bit about these offensive inconsistencies. And sometimes Raheem Morris always says stats are for losers, but I look at him a lot because I think it tells stories, trends, where you're going. And the thing that I looked at last night that was troubling to me was that Michael Penix has got a 58.8% completion rate this year. And I looked and I believe that there's only 2 quarterbacks that have played regular time, okay, not just the random fill-in guy. But Dylan Gabriel and Cam Ward are the only 2 that are below him as far as completion rate. And even if you go back to last year, guys, he's been around a 58% passer. That's not going to help you win football games. So to my 2 quarterbacks here, Raheem Morris is always talking about we got to execute. We got to stay out of 3rd and long. All those would help all this out. How do they get Michael? And I'm not saying that he's got to be a 75% completion rate passer. That's unrealistic in the National Football League. But 63 to 65 to 67 helps you win football games. How do they get him there, Arch?
Well, a lot of things have to happen. And I asked you about that question defensively because I feel like there are some pretty quick learned things that you can fix things and you can be dramatically better the next week. This one is a little bit more complicated, and this one depends on guys around him making plays. Kyle Pitts runs an over route on the first play of the game, and Penix puts the ball right on him. It's a 70-yard touchdown. Catch the ball. He drops the football, okay? You get a 2-man twist up front, something that you have in practice every day. It's a TT stunt. The 2 tackles twist. We don't pick it up. It's a 4-man pass rush, and Penix has got a guy right here in his face. What do you want him to do? You want him to throw it away. There's another incompletion. Yep. Penix gets out of the pocket on the bootleg, like I talked about, and tries to shove it in to Mooney, take off.
Yep.
Okay, there's another incompletion. So I just talked about 3 incompletions. You add that into maybe 4 or 5 other plays where he could have made a better throw. Yeah. I mean, Kyle wins on a fade. It's a touchdown. Throw it out there to him.
Yeah.
If he gets it to him, it's a walk-in touchdown. He makes some mistakes that add to it. My point is that there's not one thing you point at and say, hey, Michael, you need to take the higher percentage throw, which he can make better decisions. Let's not throw the fade on 3rd and 6. Let's work something a little bit more. Or on 1st down, if we don't see anything down the field, let's drop it off. Yep. You can work on that kind of stuff. But Shock, it's a myriad of things that are going on. The people around him have got to play better to allow him to do this kind of stuff.
The one that you talked about, the Pitts, I mean, yeah, he could have made a better throw, but, dude, I would also say you got to go get the ball, right? Like, I think Kyle Pitts is one of the most athletic and physically imposing players. Like, I just don't feel like he made a great effort to go get that ball. Like, go reach over the top of him and take it off the top of his helmet, right? You're long enough, you're athletic enough. Like, that's the type of plays. We saw it last week with Drake London. Like, made 3 really difficult contested catches, seemingly does that all the time. We've mentioned this before. Like, your quarterback's not always going to throw a perfect throw. Right. Sometimes you got to go bail him out. Like, you got to go make an even better catch to keep the drive going, to score a touchdown, whatever the case may be. Is there anything else that you're seeing with Michael Penix that can help them just get a little bit more efficient?
I think Art did a good job explaining a couple plays where you're like, okay, there's easy plays where you can find some easy completions. And then there are some ones where you got to flat out say you got to hit the route. There's some where you got free access. You're throwing a out route to Mooney, or you're throwing a dig route to Seals. Maybe you guys haven't worked together all the time, but there are plays that are there that you just got to hit. And I think ultimately he'll turn the tape on and that's on me. I got to hit that one. And I think that comes back to the maturity of Michael Penix. And he'll say that in the film room. Probably won't come out, in the public. But they're just plays that are out there that you can have. And then, Arch, I love for you to dive in it with me. But there's also the conversation of what's happening below the waist. There are a lot of things that people talk about, hey, the feet work is not there. Some people talk about, hey, sometimes when he's throwing to his left, he don't get it all the way open, and that causes issues as far as your accuracy. But then there's the naysayers, or there's people who say, you know what, there are guys around the league like a Matthew Stafford who his feet are everywhere, but the ball is on point. And sometimes when you have a strong arm like both those guys have, you've made those throws 1,000 times without stepping into it. You made that throw 1,000 times without freaking stepping to your target and getting your belly to where it's supposed to be and all this kind of stuff. But then when it becomes an issue like it is now, that's when it starts to get really blown out of proportion. That, hey, maybe there's some things going on downstairs that's causing the inaccuracy. So, Arch, I don't know if it's a big deal to you, but it's something as a quarterback that I pay attention to as well, because I was the guy who at times footwork wasn't as good as it should be, and ultimately it was why you were inaccurate, or why throws weren't on time or on point, because your feet usually tell you where to go. The hitch here, hitch there, or coming out on time, or just stepping to your target is a big part of it too. So I don't know if that is something that you see as well that says, okay, maybe that's a part of it, or maybe it's just ultimately he just got to hit that throw.
It is. I think it's paramount, Shock. What you're talking about is a critical piece to taking some of the inaccuracies, some of the things that he's doing that he can improve on dramatically and bring his feet with him. The problem is you guys are blessed. Shock had a monster arm, okay? And that Penix has a big arm.
Yep.
Matt Stafford, monster arm. I didn't have that. My arm was more like Montana's arm. I wish I could have thrown it like Joe Montana, but I had to move my feet a little bit more to make some of the throws, or not even make them at all, and I ended up taking a sack or trying to get out because I knew I couldn't make that throw. You guys know you can make the throw probably 6 out of 10 times. Well, what happens those other 4 times? It's either incomplete or I put the ball in harm's way because I didn't square my feet up to make the throw. And so I think you're dead on. Now, the Matt Stafford argument has no water with me, okay? What year is this for Matt Stafford?
17.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guarantee you go back 16 years ago, Matt Stafford's making the same throws that Michael Penix is throwing, and it ain't working out.
True.
But now he understands, and this is what I keep talking about. I know you guys have both talked about it. As a young player, whether you're Jalen Walker or you're Michael Penix, I got to figure out what I can get away with at this level and what I can't. And he's still figuring that stuff out. So he's going to get better, but we need other guys around him to make up for some of those inefficiencies by making plays around him.
Think you can take on your favorite Atlanta Falcons player on the gridiron? Well, how about on the gaming gridiron? AT&T is hosting a special Game with the Pros event at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Monday, November 17th at 6 p.m. Visit an Atlanta corporate-owned AT&T store for a chance to play Atlanta Falcons stars on PlayStation 5 in person. That's not all. AT&T is connecting fans to exclusive prizes and autograph sessions with Atlanta Falcons players. So stop by your local AT&T store today to sign up for this first-come, first-served special event. Entries granted while supplies last. Terms and conditions apply. Shock, seems like it wasn't too long ago. Falcons had a bye week, come back, they get a big win over Buffalo, sitting at 3-2. And since then, they've lost 4 straight games. So now is where I want you to take off your player helmet and I want you to put on your coaching cap. And how does Atlanta turn this thing around, Shock? Like, how do they – because it's easy to sit here and talk about playoffs, right? But, like, we're 3-6. Like, you got to work on getting one win. You got to work on trying to put together a winning streak. How does that happen for Atlanta?
You know, I think ultimately it's hard because you're sitting here at 3-6 and you say, all right, you got to find a way. And I think for me, you look at some of the small things that we've already talked about, and it's details. It's the small nuances within your game. You mentioned it when we came on. The 1-11 part of it, I think, is huge. I think we focus a lot on not just I'm talking about us, but I'm talking about just fans in general, focus about everything that's going on, the whole entire team. But I think when you get inside the team, it's about the one guy. It's about whoever's playing, that left tackle, and you got to make sure that, hey, you're blocking this guy coming off the edge. You got to do your 1-11 job. I think that's what it comes down to ultimately, the details of doing the small things that's going to help you win ball games. When you get outside of yourself and you try to do more than what's asked of you, I think that's where you've gotten in a little bit of trouble. Mm-hmm. And this is a point in the season where each guy, and we mentioned it last week, you got to go look in the mirror and say, man, am I doing everything possible to help this team win? If I'm a veteran, am I doing everything possible to help one of my young guys come along a little bit faster? Is there anything I can do when I come in and watch more film? Can I pull a guy to the side and say, you know what, I saw this, I saw that? Or is it just me? Do I have to find ways to get better? And ultimately, you can't get the entire team better unless each guy fundamentally finds out how they can improve this team.
And I think the other thing that is reality. It's not an excuse, but it's reality. Is for the majority of the season, you have 2 rookie pass rushers, you have a rookie safety, you have a rookie nickel who just came back on the field who missed a few games, but he's still learning. Yeah. You got J.D. Bertrand that's thrown into the middle of the defense now, and yeah, he's not a rookie, but he's kind of a rookie when it comes to playing inside linebacker down after down after down in the National Football League.
Captain America on that 4th down too.
Yes. And you got a quarterback in Michael Penix that's in his 2nd year, but his 1st year as a full-time starter. He's learning every single week. It's not an excuse for losses, but it is the reality of the situation. When you have so many young players that you're counting on to bring production at critical positions, like your pass rushers in the National Football League, your safeties, your defensive backs, if they're not on the same page, if they're not communicating, bad things can happen, right? And if you haven't seen all the things like you talked about with Xavier Watts, like unfortunately you're going to have to learn from some bad mistakes in order to be better the next time around. So Arch, I wanted to get your opinion, like where the Falcons are at, 3-6. Before we get to Carolina, like what has to be the mind shift knowing not only have they lost 4 straight, but they're coming off a trip that they just came overseas and they don't have a bye week. Like, you got to saddle right back up. You got another game coming up on Sunday.
Well, you're capable of doing everything you need to do. You just played 2 teams of what are a combined 16-4, and you're right there. You could have, should have, and maybe should have won both football games. Yeah. So, if you want to think about do I belong, if there is some wavering as far as that goes, you can throw that out the window. You know, he took Buffalo to task in this building. I mean, you've got the ability to play with anybody in the National Football League. You have the ability to play in games. I mean, you took the ball on your own 19-yard line, went 5 plays, 81 yards, shoved it in the end zone. That was in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. So you're capable of doing it. So I've got to understand moments of the game that are going to be critical without getting tight. Oh, God, here we go. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 4 for instance. We took over the ball at the minus 47, which is our 47-yard line. Any minus is on our side of the 50-yard line for the fans. Minus 47, minus 44, minus 43, minus 45. Okay, so you're essentially 55 yards from pay dirt, or you're what, Shock? 20 or rack 25 yards from field goal range?
Right. This day and age, yeah.
So, okay, we got 1 touchdown. In 4 half-field opportunities, we got 1 touchdown. On the other hand, Indianapolis had a very similar scenario. They took over at their minus 43, minus 41, plus 47 our side, and plus 44. So they got 4 opportunities. They ended up with 13 points out of that.
Yeah.
We got 7. We lost the game by 6. So opportunities, whether it's to make a play on a deep over route, the ball hits you right in the chest and runs for a touchdown, or you get a guy that wins on a fade, put it on him, or you get a situation where I got a half-field opportunity. I don't have to go 80 with it, 75. I can go 25 and we're in field goal range. I've got to cash those opportunities in because, as it turns out, both teams had 4 of them in the game. And more often than not, there's going to be somewhere between 9 and 11 possessions in the game. If I get 4 opportunities to get a half field, I have to score.
Got to capitalize.
And they're not doing that. And to me, that's the number one thing that's keeping you from winning against. You've got 3 one-score games. You lost on opening weekend to Tampa. That's a game you could have won.
Yep.
The last 2 weekends, one-score games. If you win those moments, we're 6-3. We're not 3-6.
Yep.
And to me, that's what it is.
How many points did we get on when they had 2 turnovers?
No, the fumble that we got, the Walker fumble. You talking about how many points did we get?
Yeah.
We ended up we had 3 and out on that series.
Exactly.
Came in and went 3. In fact, 4. You had 4 of those short field opportunities. 2 of the short field opportunities we went 3 and out. The other one we punted.
Yeah.
And then we got one where we went down and scored a touchdown.
And that's my point, is the hidden yards in the ball game. You talk about special teams. Big returns by them. Big returns by them set them up.
Rack.
You know what I'm saying? So the hidden yards in there, the hidden yards on turnovers that you don't capitalize on, those are points left out there. Those are yards left out there. Those are opportunities in a ball game that could change a win or a loss. And we always talk, you never know which play is going to be, but you got turnovers in this game. You got some short fields. You got some opportunities that you don't capitalize on, but they did and capitalized on their short yards, hidden yards situations.
Yeah, so the question you go into the meetings with, and I know we've all been in the meetings, okay, so let's pare it down to those 4 possessions where we got short field. What did we do? I guarantee you the staff is sitting down. If you want to talk about coaching and all that kind of, they're sitting down and evaluating, okay, what did I call? What did we do with those opportunities? Because we didn't really do anything. Right. We had 1 score for a touchdown. The other 3 came up empty. 2 of them were 3 and outs. You get a major change of momentum with the play you talked about where Pierce comes off the edge, blows him up, Walker recovers the football, and now you got this opportunity with momentum and they're feeling bad about themselves. You just sack the quarterback in. And we don't do anything with it. We don't cash it in. The staff, I guarantee you, is grinding right now on why are we not taking advantage of those half-field opportunities.
Yep. And you guys mentioned it, and I thought about it during the game. Like it was not a good enough special teams performance to win the football game. Gave up too many returns. Did not have a good punt one time. Guys, it's field position, right? It's all about field position. There was one play that I actually rewound. It was a kickoff coverage, and I think it's I'm not 100% sure how you say his last name. Catoriano, the young tight end.
That's it.
He's playing contain on the left side, and somehow he gets swallowed up inside and he gives the edge. Like it's kind of contain 101 when you're in that position. Like you have to leave your outside arm free, and they cannot bounce outside of you. If they do, there's likely nobody there to make the play. Like that's why that position is squeeze it down, keep your outside arm free, and if he starts bubbling this way, you've got to fight your way outside to turn him into the rest of the coverage team, right? Yep. If you get him outside, boom, that's exactly what happens. All of a sudden, the guy's at midfield, right? And like that's call it 2.5 to 3 first downs right there, right? You get him tackled around the 25 versus the 50 or longer. Like you just gave him 3 first downs.
Right away.
Like this National Football League, they're going to make you pay for that, right?
Brack, how much is it like? How much have you been able to figure out over these 2 seasons with the new dynamic kickoff? Is it like a running play? You just talked about keeping my outside. You're almost describing like a defensive end.
Leverage.
Defensive end where I got to leverage. I got to turn the play back to the inside. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, but I would say even back when I was playing in special teams was the same way. When we had the old school rules, right? When you were running down, it was like you're 2 players on each side, right? The widest 2. One was your contain that was going all the way down. One was your safety, right? Mm-hmm. So they would run down and then they would throttle down a little bit, and their responsibility was if something if they skate out, you're there, you should be unblocked. If not, there's going to be somebody coming late for you. Your job is to go make that play. Like that's a corner, a nickel, or a safety because that's what they're used to, right? Coming up in the box and kind of seeing what happens and going to making a tackle. But with this new kickoff rule now, it's like they're right next to the guy, right when the catch is being made, and then you're going downfield. But the same principle applies, right? Yeah. These got to go back into the rest of your coverage team, right? That's when you're going to get the tackle right away. You get him down on the ground. So special teams has got to be better. So let's turn the page real quick. Let's talk about Carolina. If there's one game where we got to have a short-term memory, it's the Panthers. It was not one of those one-score games that you talked about. It was an embarrassing performance that I'm sure a lot of people in this locker room shock are looking to avenge that loss, okay? I'm going to throw this question up to you. You can take it based off of the last performance or you can take it based off of what needs to happen in this game. But how does Atlanta flush the last 4 weeks, flush Berlin, Germany, potentially flush the last time they played the Panthers and have a different result on Sunday?
It sounds cliche, but this is one of those, you go back, it was way back in week 3, and you figure out how different are you from week 3. You think about the things that led to the loss in that ball game. And I went back and looked at it, and you look at the stat sheet, and you say, man, you dominated in a lot of categories in that ball game. You look at the numbers, and Carolina was 3 of 11 on third down. Falcons outgained them by close to almost 100 yards in that ball game. Yards per play, they were 4.1, you were 5.0, but you had 3 turnovers in the game. You had 2 interceptions, you had a fumble in that ball game, and when you have those kind of issues on the road, guess what? More 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to come out of it the right way. Obviously, Bryce Young, they did a really good job of just getting the football out of his hands. This is going to be, I think, a game where you come back, you're in your own building. It's been a while since you've been back. And ultimately, I think it just comes down to just the pride that you have coming into this ballgame. You're 0-2 in the division. You got to go win this ballgame. If you fall 0-3 and you fall behind, you can't get swept by the Carolina Panthers, and then they come here and do that. I think this is – I go back to the details of your assignment each week. And, you know, you look back on that ball game, there are a lot of things that you can clean up. There are a lot of things that were very fixable. There are a lot of things that if you play just a little bit better, you have a different outcome. And, of course, they're gonna look back and say, hey, they went on the road to Green Bay, got to win, but then they lose to the Saints this past week. Well, you look up what the Saints did, 122 rush yards on 37 attempts. This is a ball game where you can get back to the run game. I think it starts there. I think it takes a lot of pressure off your quarterback. It gives you more opportunities to push the football down the field, and it gives you those opportunities. So they had 175 total yards in the ball game. They were 3 of 9 on third down again. Now, we're not the best team on third down ourselves, but there's some things that they're not doing well either. So how about we go out and, continue the trend in this game at home?
This team is 5-5, the Carolina Panthers. But as you look at their season, like I can't figure them out. They lost to the Patriots 42-13. Okay, they beat the Cowboys 30-27. They beat the Jets barely 13-6. We know the Jets struggles. They get hammered by the Bills. Okay, 40-9. They respond by beating the Packers on the road at Lambeau, and then they lose to the Saints, who's got their own issues. Right, so it's like, when you think you're talking about, like, you try to figure out what's a team's trajectory. I don't know what the Panthers' trajectory is, Arch.
There's a bunch of teams that are like that.
Exactly. But I'm going to ask you the same question. Like, what has to be different this weekend for Atlanta, Arch?
I think that I was really pleased with how we got back to what Raheem had talked about. Part of the backbone of this offensive unit is to be able to come off the ball and run the football. Yeah. And I thought you were able to two-way go the run a good bit. I was really impressed with the left side. Shout out to Kyle Hinton, who stepped in just his second start of his career. He's played some 43, 44 games in his career, but as a starter, just his second start, I thought he did a really good job off that left side. In fact, I thought we were mashing him in the run game on the left side a good bit in the game. So getting back to that, the numbers defy logic. What'd you say they had total offense the first time we played them in week 3?
224.
224 yards. They were 3 of 13 on third down, and they won 30-0. How does that happen?
When you give them the ball a few times?
Yeah, well, the pick 6 right at the start of the second half made it 17-0, and at that point we kind of shifted gears and got out of game plan or whatever and turned down field goals because we missed a couple of those, and so it got sideways. But the numbers would defy that. Get back to running the football who you were. I think you got You did a really good job of re-identifying that in your run game. What was it, 29 run plays, 28 pass plays? Balance is whatever it takes to win. I know I know it's thrown out there by the media that balance, you ran it 30 times and you threw it 20. That's great balance. Well, the numbers would indicate really good balance. 28 throws, 29 runs. It's what it takes to win the football. I'll throw it 55 times if that's the balance I need to win the game. So, but I think you can come back to run the football. The thing that you have to guard against is the explosives have crept up on Atlanta's defense the last couple weeks. Gave up 7 to New England. I think he gave up 12 this week. So 19 plays of 15 yards or more. Other than that, the chaos you're talking about, 7, you've got 13 sacks in the last 2 weeks, 4 takeaways.
Yeah.
You're doing what you want to do.
Yep.
Let's take away the explosive play, which means Bryce Young, I don't think he's a great player, but he's a facilitator, kind of a point guard, small point guard. And if you allow him to move around in the pocket, slide and find guys, we had a problem with Daniel Jones. To me, that would be one of the keys for me is we got to keep Bryce from buying time, and then let's tackle the football when they try to run it.
Okay. I like it. Last question. All right. This is Shock's favorite game.
Yay, Shock.
3-word key, only 3. All right. I'm going first again.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving you guys time. 3 words and only 3
I
words.
don't know why y'all say this me. This be y'all too. Don't be acting like that, man.
Special teams win. Okay? Special teams win. That means you're buttoned up, you do what you're supposed to do on special teams, and you win that phase of the game. Simple.
Okay, it can't be let's go dogs.
That's a good one, too. I don't know what's wrong with that one either.
You want me?
I'll go, how about play with urgency?
Ooh, I like that because that talks about those short field opportunities, right?
Come on, baby.
Yeah, that's
Come on
money.
home. Come on
Money
home.
right there.
What you got, baby? What
I
you got?
like it. Shock actually had some efficiency with his words,
You know
too.
what I'm saying?
All right.
I felt like going over. I said, I'm not going to do it.
Well, one of the hot players on their team has been Rico Dowdle,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to say
Here it is, baby. Let go.
say no to Rico.
Say
No,
no.
I can't.
Say no to Rico.
Failed the test.
Say no.
lost.
It was a good one, though.
I got to
That's
retake the
what you
course
go.
now. I got 6 weeks of course I got to take.
But all we need to
No
do,
to Rico.
Just say
No to Rico.
Okay, no to Rico.
Like that.
Okay.
I like
Like
it.
that. Like
Yeah, because that can kind of be like a little slang too. Nota.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's like no apostrophe ta.
No to.
Yeah,
no to
there's
Rico.
still like 4 words.
No
I blew it.
Rico.
All
right.
I failed the course today.
We gave you
Art
some.
with the bars. No to Rico.
Just to recap, we recapped the Falcons game over in Berlin, Germany. Went in a number of different angles there. We talked a little bit about what it's going to take to get back on track, and then we talked about the Panthers, who they are, maybe we don't really know who they are, but what it's going to take for a victory this Sunday.
Arch, last thing, how was the food out there? Did you eat good or no?
I think we got our answer.
he's like, right.
They
End
did-
it.
we stayed
End
at
it.
the Grand Hyatt Hotel there, and they did a really good job. It felt like there was a smorgasbord all day long there, because as soon as they took the breakfast down, you guys know, you've been on these road trips. Here comes the breakfast, and you're going, wow, I could just sit here and be 800 pounds. I could sit here and eat. So the stuff they made for us over there was pretty good. I didn't really delve into the local cuisine other than had a couple pints. I will tell you that.
Supposed to.
I mean,
Supposed to.
Went
It's
in
German beer, man.
Went in
Yeah.
Berlin, right?
Yeah.
Not
Went in
Rome,
Berlin.
went in
It
Berlin.
It was not Oktoberfest, so I missed that.
Hey, remember to follow us on your podcast apps. Like, comment, subscribe, give us a shout, holla at us. Let us know if you want to hear something different, want our opinions on something other than what we're talking about. Give us a shout. We'll be back next week, and hopefully we are recapping the Falcons getting off the losing schneid and coming away with a divisional win over the Carolina Panthers. On behalf of Shock, Arch, I'm Rack. This is Falcons Audible presented by AT&T. We'll see you next time, everybody.